I had always seen myself as a dependable man, a steady, unwavering presence for my wife, Sarah. I believe I'd make an exceptional father, someone my future children could count on, someone who'd never let his family down. Sarah and I had built 6 years of love and partnership before deciding we were ready to bring a child into our world. Everything seemed to be unfolding just as we had dreamed. Life felt aligned, secure, even beautiful. So when Sarah told me she was pregnant, my heart soared. I was overjoyed. We'd been trying for a while, and despite the early hurdles of her pregnancy, morning sickness, mood swings, the usual chaos, there was an undeniable magic in the air. Our long-held dream was finally becoming real. I never missed a single doctor's appointment. Every ultrasound, every whisper heartbeat on the monitor, I was there, holding her hand, imagining the future we were stitching together, thread by thread. But something changed after our daughter, Lily, was born. At first, I chalked it up to the exhaustion and stress of new parenthood. Those sleepless nights, the feeding schedules, the haze of diapers and bottles, it was overwhelming, but I was ready for that. What I wasn't ready for was the cold wall Sarah began to build between us. Her warmth started to vanish. She became distant, irritable, and evasive. She stopped answering my calls during the day, pulled away from my touch, avoided eye contact, and her trust in me seemed to fray at the edges. I asked her gently, carefully, was everything okay? She dismissed my concerns, blaming hormones, the exhaustion, and the pressure of caring for a newborn. But her indifference stung, and the more I reached out, the further she seemed to drift. The woman I had married, the one I had laughed with, cried with, grown with, was slipping away, and I couldn't understand why. Not once did I question Lily's paternity in the beginning. Sarah was my wife, my partner. Doubting her felt like betraying everything we had shared. But the distance kept growing, turning into something darker, something that didn't feel like the natural strain of new parenthood. Her secrecy began to feel deliberate, almost cruel. The night she left the room to take calls, the way she clutched her phone like a lifeline, always keeping it face down. Something was off, terribly off. Then came the night that changed everything. I arrived home late from work, exhausted and hungry for even the smallest moment of connection. I saw her phone sitting on the dining table, unlocked. A rare sight. I wish I could say I walked past it. I wish I could say I trusted her enough not to look. But something gnawed at me, something primal. With trembling hands, I picked it up and opened her messages. My world came crashing down. There they were, messages laced with intimacy, photos that made my stomach churn, conversations that betrayed every ounce of love I had poured into our marriage. And the dates, my God, the dates. Their affair wasn't ancient history. Their last message was just weeks before Lily was conceived. My hands shook. My knees buckled. I felt like I was drowning in betrayal. That night, I confronted her. At first, she denied it. Her lies were panicked, clumsy, desperate. But the truth eventually broke through. She confessed the affair, called it a one-time mistake, a moment of weakness. But there was no remorse in her eyes, only fear of losing control. I stood there shattered, trying to understand how the woman I adored could destroy everything with such ease. Still reeling, I asked her the one question that refused to leave my mind. Was Lily mine? Her voice wavered as she insisted she was. She pleaded with me to believe her. But trust, once cracked, rarely heals the same. Doubt had already rooted itself in my soul. Quietly, without telling her, I arranged for a paternity test. The results tore me apart. Lily wasn't mine. I sat alone with that paper in my hands, reading the words over and over, trying to unmake them with sheer will. I had loved Lily from the moment I knew of her existence. I had fed her, bathed her, rocked her to sleep. I had whispered promises to her in the dark. And now I was being told she wasn't mine, not by blood. It felt like being stabbed in the chest by the very life I thought I had built. When I showed Sarah the results, she didn't even try to deny it. This time, she told the truth. The other man was Lily's biological father. Yet she begged me to stay, to keep loving and raising Lily as my own. She spoke of stability, of responsibility, of what Lily deserved. But I had nothing left to give. Not to Sarah. Not in that house full of ghosts and lies. Just when I thought the pain couldn't deepen, Sarah filed for child support. My name, she reminded me, was on the birth certificate. I was a legal father, even if I wasn't the biological one. Her betrayal had reached beyond the emotional. She wanted to trap me financially, force me to pay for a child who wasn't mine, whose very existence had been born out of deceit. I fought back. I hired lawyers, dug into every legal defense I could find. But the system wasn't built to protect men like me. It saw me not as a victim, but as an abandoning father. Sarah's legal team painted me as a heartless man walking out on a child he had raised and loved. They spun their lies, twisted the story. I was being buried beneath the weight of her betrayal all over again. But I stood firm. My lawyer, a fierce, compassionate woman who believed in justice, uncovered every truth. She presented a paternity test. She proved Sarah's deception. I wasn't trying to shirk responsibility. I was trying to reclaim my stolen life. The courtroom became a battleground. I sat across from Sarah as she stared at me with hollow eyes, eyes that once held warmth but now reflected nothing but desperation. She wanted me to keep paying, to keep playing a role she had forced upon me. But I couldn't live like that anymore. I wouldn't. At the final hearing, something inside me changed. I looked at Lily not as the daughter I had lost, but as a symbol of the lie I had unknowingly lived. It broke me, but it also freed me. My lawyer stood and spoke from the heart, laying bare the truth for the judge to see. I had been deceived, manipulated. I was not Lily's father, not in the eyes of biology nor justice. The judge's ruling was in my favor. Relief crashed over me like a wave, but it was laced with sorrow. There was no celebration, no victory, just silence. I had been freed from financial obligation, but at the cost of a dream, a family, a love I thought was real. Sarah didn't fight the decision. She sat there motionless, her face pale, finally facing the wreckage of what she had done. I left that courtroom not as the man I once was, but as someone entirely different, scarred, yes, but no longer imprisoned. I had been used to fill a void in someone else's life, cast into a role I never agreed to. But now I was free. In the weeks that followed, Sarah tried to reach out. She sent messages, apologies, promises, pleas. She said she would raise Lily alone, that she was sorry. But I had heard enough lies. I blocked her number. I needed peace. Closure wouldn't come from her. It would come from reclaiming my life. I carried the love I had for Lily like a scar, deep, permanent, a reminder of what could have been. But I know now that love, no matter how real, should never be built on deception. I didn't abandon her. I was never given the truth to choose her. I walk forward now, uncertain what lies ahead, but sure of one thing. I have survived. I have freed myself from a story I didn't write, from a future I didn't choose. The wounds are there, but so is the strength. I will rebuild. I will trust again, but this time with eyes wide open.